welcome to Shimmer Girl Talk. So I got this topic off of Kevin Samuel's Kendra G forum on Facebook. And the question is, why do people question single women and not single men when it comes to the relationship talk? So I don't know a whole lot about this Cheyenne Bryant, but just based on what I do know of her, she appears to be in the sisterhood echo chamber. And that is one reason why I feel, particularly for women who want a husband, number one, she get out the sisterhood echo chamber. And number two, be mindful of the women that you get advice from if you want a husband. Because if they're not giving you advice from an accountability point of view, then she's probably not who you should be listening to if you want to move towards being married and having a husband. So when I listened to this Dr. Cheyenne Bryant on, I think she was on the Cam Newton show, she said something about, in so many words, and I've heard this before in the sisterhood echo chamber, it's better to wait and get married and make sure you do it right than to be married just to be married and end up divorced. Okay, that's some babble. Shout out to Pink Book Lessons. I didn't say it the way she says it. I love the way she say it. But no, my personal opinion is this is why it's important for parents to lead by example. And I've been very transparent. I was raised by a single mother. One of the ways that I learned how to be a wife was by watching other wives and how they interacted with their husbands. And ideally, a young woman and man for that matter should be getting married while they're still in their 20s and then building their lives together with each other. And I'm going to get to Kevin Samuels in a minute. Whereas women like this Cheyenne Bryant person, and don't get me wrong, no, don't quote me on it. I don't know if she's either never been married, she's 40 years old, she's never been married, or she's been married twice. So forgive me for not knowing exactly what her marital status is. But I see red flags with her. Because again, single women are usually giving advice from a place of being jaded, hurt, traumatized. I'm not saying that she is, or that all single women who give advice, but just based on being online, reading people's comments, just my personal anecdotal experience, the vast majority of single women give bad advice to other women because they're talking from a place of dreaming and unrealistic expectations. You got 4 kids by 4 different men, and Russell Wilson is right around the corner for you. You live in Section 8, but a millionaire is going to want you. You're 300 pounds, and Idris Elba is going to pick you up and carry you upstairs like Rhett Butler. You know, those are all not realistic. Kevin Samuels, on the other hand, which is why women hate this man's guts to this day, even though he has passed on. Kevin Samuels, twice divorced, yes. 9 times out of 10, he was not the one who sought the divorce. His wives did. And let me just go off on a quick segue. Some people would be like, well, they're married. There was a reason why they got a divorce. Not all the time. And I just had somebody say that to me on a topic yesterday on Facebook. And I just ignored it because this person is that gay male that I told you about. He's I don't even know why he's even in the conversation for heterosexual relationships anyway. But I didn't even respond to him because women walking away from marriages is not always a sinister reason. They could be walking away. I need to go find myself. It's about my happiness over everybody. And that man could be busting his hump, working hard to keep her in a 4 or 5 bedroom house, got her in a car. She could be a stay-at-home wife and mother, but because she's not happy and I must find myself and whatever, she's walking away from her marriage. So no, women aren't always walking away from bad marriages. Some of them are walking away from good marriages that they later regret, but it's hard. They're hard pressed to even admit it. So Kevin Samuels is going to be different because even though, yes, he was divorced, he was also still pro-nuclear family. He was still pro-marriage, and he held people accountable, namely women. He used to hold men accountable too, but he got on the map holding women accountable. And this is why men and women, they could be single giving advice, because women aren't holding other women accountable. Look at Kendra G, and I watch her show from time to time. She's a little bit better than she used to be, but she typically don't go in hard on the women the way that she should, or the way that she would on a man. Kendra G has never been married, so she's not going to go hard on the women, and there's some understanding that she doesn't know in regards to being a wife and marriage. Kevin Samuels at least had he was at least married at one point. And men tend to be a little bit more logical and women more emotional. And and I know that triggers people, but ladies, stop comparing yourselves to men. All I see a lot of times online is, well, what about the men? The men are doing it, but we're talking to you. I'm a woman talking to you. And if you're looking for a particular outcome, then you need to be seeking out the women who have what you have, or at least have an understanding of what you want. Y'all be listening to these Shira Sevens, that sprinkle lady. Well, she's not single to my knowledge. But y'all listen to these women who are selling you hopes and dreams instead of accountability. If you want marriage, then you need to be thinking marriage-minded, wife-minded. This Cheyenne Bryant woman, I don't see that with her. Like I said, just that brief introduction to her on the Cam Newton show, she sounded like, and I don't want to use the term hyena, that's Crimson Cure's, that's her term. And I said I was going to come up with my own term, but for right now, I'm going to say the most educated, which I already know the reason. I already know it's the most enrolled. It's not necessarily the most educated, because if it was, a lot of what goes on in our community would be different. But so that's why men and women, men aren't necessarily grilled as hard giving advice as a single man as a woman is, unless that man happens to be in the sisterhood echo chamber and he's pandering. That's a different story. So ladies, the ones of you who are single, you want to be married and all of that, seek out traditional minded platforms. Walk away from the sisterhood, because that's just full of gay men, hyenas, a ratchetane, shout out to the Standard of Truth podcast, and women who are dreaming right alongside of you who don't want accountability. And I'll talk to you later.